top somehow.
Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, you hear that theme song, then you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk, and time to say greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we are reaching and communicating with you all over the globe. Yes, we're having some difficulties with our Facebook feed and we're trying to get that up and running, but I do apologize in the meantime for those who are not with me on Facebook. We've been having some difficulties, some difficulty, like I said, with our Facebook feed, but we are trying to get that sorted out for you, my Straight Talk family. But in the meantime, in the interim, let me say a very pleasant night to St. Kitts and Nevis, and let me apologize for that tardy start. As I said, we were trying to do some technical upgrades here and trying to get that Facebook feed up and running, but as of now, to no avail. So I do apologize, but nonetheless welcome you, and for your friends, your neighbors, your family, just tell them catch me on YouTube in the meantime. But I want to welcome my first timers and thank those who continue to share that link, because whenever you do, we get first timers, and for the first timers I say welcome, and I hope and trust it won't be your last time. And to inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we do have a forum, and we try to raise on this forum the level of consciousness, the level of discourse, national, regional, international discourse, by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation, my Straight Talk family, on yet another occasion. And as your host, I will always pledge, I'll continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness, and to inform you as well that Straight Talk is a program on which we never water down anything to try to make it interesting, neither by omission nor by exaggeration, because we are not about creating sensationalism on this program. We are not about creating excitement, especially at the expense of accuracy. Because we lean on the facts, as is my bounden duty to present what I call the unvarnished truth, especially when it comes to governance in St. Kitts and Nevis, when it comes to transparency, wherever you are in the world, because we, my Straight Talk family, we are joined together with people across the Federation, and we are joined with people in the diaspora all around the world. And some we know very well and have met, and others we do not know, and many we may never ever meet, physically that is, and some will agree with the positions of truth, advance, and Straight Talk, and some will disagree. And that's fine, because we are a different people. We are, and we entertain what I call diverse views. So that's fine if we disagree. But what will sadden me is if we ever start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God, my Straight Talk family, for helping us to understand, oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. So let's therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link as you bring first-timers. And for the first-timers, I want to remind you, I want to remind those who are with me all the time, and for the first-timers in particular, that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we entertain your calls, we include your calls and your emails, and if you're so minded calling, the numbers are 663-6672. Someone told me that to find on the screen. But the local number is 663, and our overseas line is 646-829-6672. There are those of you who like the cloak of anonymity. You don't want to be heard, so you want to hide behind your keyboard, I call it, and we give you access via our email platform, and that address is Straight Talk Patches. That's one word, STRAIGHTTALK, patches at gmail.com. And Straight Talk is also heard live on Alexa. For those who have the app, just say Alexa play Massive Vibes Radio. We thank the brother Massive for keeping us connected via Alexa at a nominal cost. And some of you, as I say, cost, make donations to support our efforts, or have made donations to support our effort. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I say a big, big thank you. I must also reassure you that no matter the contribution, please don't stop, because it helps us to continue this important service. Yes, it's a public service. Others who may wish to donate can simply scan the code on your screen to access the payment form. A very simple process. And thank you again for helping us to keep the dialogue alive. And I must say welcome to my junior brigade, else I'll be in trouble. Young Dwayne, Tristan, Shama, Kevin, Young Rue, Jamal, Travis Travon, and Neymar, my grandson, and his good friend Soraya, and that special lady in St. Louis. We normally move with our observations, and our observations in review. We highlight the current issues, and in the interest of time, I'll move to my observations before we begin our thesis for tonight, which I've titled SKN Housing, St. Kitts Nevis Housing, a vehicle for wealth and fraud rather than a social good. So please, therefore, do not move, do not change that platform, don't change the link. Just spread the word that Straight Talk is live on social media. YouTube, we're trying to get that Facebook page up. We're having some difficulty, but the technical experts are on it and trying to sort it out. My first observation, my Straight Talk family, it relates to an email that I read on my last program in reference to a CBI matter. And I received a call on Saturday from an irate mother who chastised me for mentioning the name of her daughter. It was a private call, so I have no intention whatsoever of divulging her name, since we agreed that she only called because of our good relationship over the years, and also to inform me that her daughter and her son are both above board. She chastised me. She challenged me. Why not talk about Timothy Harris, she said, who made millions from CBI, and leave her daughter alone? She shouted, my daughter is above board. And my response to this mother was that she referred to millions of dollars apparently made by these former prime ministers, and this particular prime minister, former prime minister Harris. But on the contrary, Straight Talk in fact provided this information, which was revealed by Philippe Martinez. We did in fact provide this information, and we do not hold any bars or any briefs for anyone on this program.
Early in January, a miracle happened, and my American lawyer, pursuant to the court order that we won in Florida, received all the bank transaction of all these people from Bank of America. I repeat, MSR Media is now in possession of all bank transactions for Caribbean Galaxy, Ying Jing, Denzel Douglas, Timothy Harris, CS Global Partner, Farron Lawrence and his company, Sylvester Anthony.
So yes, my Straight Talk family, we brought that information contrary to what that irate mother said to me. But as we parted our conversation, nonetheless, I felt a sense of ambivalence, as on the one hand, I appreciated the mother's anguish. I appreciated the pain. I can hear the pain in the voice. But on the other hand, the content of the email that I read was accurate. It was the truth. There's no question of the truth being told. So here I was between a rock and a hard place. And while I apologize to that mother who called me, I have always and still do reassure you, my viewers, that Straight Talk leans on the facts. So as my grandmother used to say to us, who got cocoa in the sun must always look for rain. And my second observation, my Straight Talk family, I must commend the Nevis Island administration going across the Narrows here for the milestone they have apparently achieved, according to its Premier Brantley, who said this some time ago, recently.
At 4 o'clock this afternoon, we opened the bids for the geothermal project, the drilling aspect. And I'm very proud to announce tonight that we had 5 major global companies bidding on the geothermal project. It was, for me, incredibly heartwarming to see that a lot of hard work, a lot of effort over the years, in fact 2 decades worth of effort, that we now at a point where companies have seen it fit to put in their bids to be part of this project. The bids will be evaluated, and certainly once that evaluation is done, we will come back to say what the findings are. I just want the public to know that there is no political influence or political involvement in this process. I am not evaluating the bids, the NIA is not evaluating the bids, the project is being led by the technical team at NEVLEC, and they're being ably assisted by consultants from the Caribbean Development Bank.
And my Straight Talk family, it is a very important first step over there in Nevis as the move to this renewable energy resource. And the questions were asked of Prime Minister Drew some time ago as well. This question was asked.
Just to clarify, you mentioned there is a funding gap in the geothermal project. Now, the Saudis are bringing what resources? Is that for the build-out of a power plant, or is this just for drilling?
For the funding gap.
But what does it cover?
Yeah, it covers the drilling of the wells. That is what it basically covers.
Still going to need an additional sum
to build up
actually do the plant.
Yes. Now, the reason why that is critical, because once you get those wells, then the whole project becomes marketable, very well marketable. You'll have people rushing in who would want to build out the plant. But by then, when all the wells are built, and you know how much energy you'll have there, we are sure that then companies will start to be approaching. Nations might start to be approaching. How can we have access to this energy as well? So the first thing is to get those wells, demonstrate the energy that exists, and then after that, take it to who will be the best to build out the plant.
And of course, my Straight Talk family, there is the construction of a power plant, as this first step relates to the drilling. And then we move to the construction of a power plant. Also, the transmission lines to be laid, and according to the IMF report, the total capital outlay that would be required is US $400 million. That's another question. There will also be need, I dare say, for finalizing an agreement between Basseterre and Charlestown, and in particular based on the troubling comments that I've heard and the whole Federation has heard from some quarters in Nevis. For example, this comment from a member of the NIA cabinet.
It would be an issue going forward as to the control of geothermal. It would be an issue going forward. My word.
It would be.
It can be a political issue going forward.
Let me put it this way. If any government in Charlestown were to hand over the geothermal project to Basseterre, that would be political suicide. And I put it as plain and as blunt as that, right? And I don't see that the political organization and the political party that I am associated with have any intention to carte blanche hand over this geothermal resource and this geothermal project to anybody in Basseterre. Right?
Okay.
And I am talking plain as I am looking at you. Right?
Good.
That will not happen with this CCM administration. That we are going to just hand over this geothermal. This is a partnership, and we are going to be treated with respect when it comes to this geothermal resource on the island of Nevis.
My Straight Talk family, the tone, the content, the comments from Naya, I think is his name, also ought to be taken note of. Naya spoke about squeeze, the squeeze he referred to.
This federal things can change rapidly, and sometimes we here in Nevis feel the squeeze. Maybe we can make Sinkers feel the squeeze, going forward, if we find it necessary too.
Maybe you can make Senkers feel the squeeze going forward, whatever that means, my Straight Talk family. These are, in my humble opinion, some very serious comments. I also saying even bordering on threats. And the third observation, I'm still across the Narrows, and Premier Brantley also provided an update on the Vance Amory International Airport. And he told his people, I think it was in St. John's, I stand to be corrected, this.
The airport project is one that is very important to the people of Nevis. The last significant upgrades that were done at Vance Amory International were over 20 years ago. And we all, I think, can acknowledge that the airport in its current form has grown obsolete. And so we are trying our best to do a project that will give us 20, 30, 40 years in the future at the present site. I am pleased to announce that our financing is largely in place. I say largely because there is one other agreement that we need to sign, but we have had the commitments on the financing, and that the holdup really has been some financing, local financing from the National Bank for the purchase of the lands. We've been going back and forth. The word I got today, because I called, I said I'm going to a town hall meeting, I need to be able to tell the people of Nevis something, is that the funds should start flowing next week. And if that is to happen, then it means that we can pay out the landowners next week, starting next week, and take possession of the lands at issue. Once we have the lands, then the rest of the project flows.
So yes, my Straight Talk family, and Prime Minister Drew did confirm that funding, or a guarantee, I think he said, was made available for the funding, or some of the funding required by the NIA.
Okay, Mr. Prime Minister, I will take you over to Nevis today.
Yes.
All right, one, the Premier of Nevis disclosed that he asked for financing from the federal government for the Vance W. Amory International Airport project.
Yes.
How much money did the Premier ask for, and approximately when will the funds be made available? And two, the Alexandra Hospital expansion project. You know, that's a bread and butter topic in Nevis, especially as it relates to its incompletion. Have you personally visited the site, or do you intend to visit the site? And what will you do as Prime Minister to ensure that that edifice be completed or be brought to fruition sometime soon?
Right. So with respect to the Premier saying that, I think the Vance Amory Airport can be enhanced and can help Nevis. He has brought to the federal government how we can partner. The federal government is working with the Nevis Island administration on that project. I don't know if he gave the numbers, but he would have the final numbers. But I can tell you that the federal government is working with the NIA with respect to the airport expansion.
And my Straight Talk family, the numbers given by Brantley nonetheless is $40 million. He did not say whether it was US dollars or EC dollars. So Straight Talk will continue to follow this development across the Narrows and confirm whether it's 40 million US or 40 million East Caribbean dollars. But those are my observations for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And I move right into my thesis for tonight, which I have labeled SKN Housing, a vehicle for wealth and fraud rather than a social good. And my Straight Talk family, housing for every citizen in St. Kitts and Nevis and perhaps the world over represents more than 4 walls and a roof. It is a place to call home, a safe environment necessary to enjoy an adequate standard of living, and a platform to access basic services and all the opportunities the country has to offer, including jobs and economic services to cultural life and leisure. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 provided an historical turning point for the direction housing discussions have taken in the decades thereafter. It was the first international document where states recognize housing as a human right or an essential condition to enjoy an adequate standard of living. Let us go back to the early 1950s in St. Kitts and Nevis, in St. Kitts in particular, I must add, a time when our 4 parents struggled daily for the dignity of a roof over their heads. It was then in the spirit of compassion and public service that the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw government of the day established the Central Housing Authority, CHA as it was called, with a clear and moral mission to provide shelter for the poor and vulnerable. It was a noble start, and decades later in 1997, the Denzel Douglas administration took what was meant to be the next bold step. The National Housing Corporation, or the NHC, as it's affectionately called, was born, with an express mandate to provide housing for the indigent and infirmed, my Straight Talk family. And we can glean from your monitors that the functions of the National Housing Corporation are pellucid. It says, and I quote, the functions of the corporation shall, according to clause 4.1, subsection 1 of the National Housing Corporation Act of 1997, to add and to improve the existing supply of housing by promoting housing projects to such extent as may from time to time be approved by the minister. But let's fast track to section 4, subsection C, to the bottom. It says the functions of the corporation shall be to provide housing for the indigent and infirm. And we ask ourselves, over the years, has NHC satisfied its direction in law? But here we are today, almost 30 years later, and that promise still remains unfilled. I've answered the question. Now, for well over 2 decades, housing production in St. Kitts has not kept up with population changes, resulting in affordability problems across the country. This fact was magnified following this ambitious announcement over 2 years ago in 2023, when the slow student told the nation this.
Good day, citizens and residents. I am taking the opportunity to address the nation on the government of St. Kitts and Nevis' progress in providing affordable home owners solutions. As a government, we believe that it is critically important for our citizens and residents to become home owners, and as such, has made it a top priority to create affordable housing solutions that will meet the ever-growing housing demand. Today, as the Minister responsible for housing and human settlement, I am pleased to formally announce that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and National Housing Corporation (NHC) has signed a contract with East Coast Housing Development, a Trinidadian-based developer, to finance and deliver 2,400 affordable smart homes over a period of 4 years, 600 of which will be made available each year. EC's $600 million has been sourced by this developer to fund the project, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through NHC, will facilitate the development and be the point of access for the citizens who are interested in procuring a smart home.
And my Straight Talk family, that was May 2023, 2 years ago. So based on the pronouncement of the slow student, we should have had 1,200 houses being constructed. But Brian Singh, the managing director of East Coast Housing Development, never built a chicken coop, much less a house. And he was handed the contract to construct 2,400 houses at 600 per year in 4 years. And Brian Singh must have felt on top of the world. And so elated he was that he referred to Terence Michael Drew as Jesus and promised not to let him down. Yes, he said this, called him Jesus.
Our purpose in St. Kitts is tenfold. One is we know that COVID brought a lot of hardship to every country, every island in the Caribbean and worldwide. And we thought that, listen, this is a good economy. You all maybe don't know, but if you hear the discussions that has been had, and I'll tell you where, in Barbados, for instance, and they talk that, listen, this man is a genius. So I say, which man? So I thought they were talking about Jesus. So they say Dr. Drew, based on the fact that he had the testicular fortitude to bring projects like this together for the benefit of the economy. Because I said that, listen, we have to promote the economic growth in the economy after COVID. What happens if you don't do that? So patience is the watchword. And I want to say, Prime Minister, thank you for the opportunity. As in everything else, we're not going to let you down. We try to go by excellence.
Well, he promised not to let Jesus down. Though only 2 houses were built, according to the slow student, Jeffrey Hanley, some 300 persons of the 4,000 applicants went to the bank and were not approved, according to the slow student.
So quite a lot is going to happen in 2025 when it comes to home and housing solution. I know some persons might have gone to the bank and the bank might have indicated that they're not qualified. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get a house, because we have innovative ways that we are going to be launching that will benefit those persons. The reason why we did that is because St. Kitts is not really known for having all of the data. And we wanted to know how many persons are interested in homes. And the database revealed that about 4,000 persons would have applied. in terms of sharing their details. And as they go through the process, they are updated, and we know. So we know already, out of the 300 that went to the bank, we already have an idea of how many of them were not approved, and not being approved doesn't mean that they can't get. It means that they couldn't get maybe the house that they wanted. Some wanted a 2-bedroom, but then they might have to settle with a 1-bedroom.
Imagine that, my Straight Talk family. 4,000 applied, 300 went to the bank, and the majority were not approved. In the words of Garth Lucifer Wilkin, they were not bankable, is what the words he used, my Straight Talk family. They were not bankable.
It is not government buying the houses or NHC buying the houses. It's individuals buying the houses. This is the solution for persons who are bankable and can take a mortgage loan from a credit union or a bank, and they can purchase their 1-bedroom house for $111,000, their 2-bedroom for $213, and their 3-bedroom for $197.
But this project, my Straight Talk family, was laced with fraud from the onset, as Brian Singh and East Coast Housing Development, as intimated earlier, never ever built one house. So how could we depend on this company to construct 2,400 houses? And Brian Singh confessed that the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin expressed doubt about the 10-year warranty provided by East Coast Housing Development. In spite of his doubt, the Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin still advised his Prime Minister and his cabinet to seek approval from Parliament to guarantee US $260,000 or EC $27,804,600, the sums payable by NHC for mobilization. And we always provide you with the facts, my Straight Talk family. This resolution went to Parliament, my Straight Talk family, and the latter portion of this is of maximum importance, and we all should read it carefully. Read it carefully, my Straight Talk family. It said, now therefore, my Straight Talk family. Continue. Are you reading it, my Straight Talk family? Okay, let's do it together. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the National Assembly of St. Christopher and Nevis that the government hereby guarantees a sum of $10,260,000 United States dollars, representing a guarantee of the sum to be contractually payable by the National Housing Corporation to East Coast Housing to construct the first phase of climate-smart homes on lands owned by resident landowners of St. Kitts who have been approved by the National Housing Corporation, approved by the National Assembly on the 14th of June 2024, my Straight Talk family. The Office of East Coast Housing Development, though, has been closed for months. Months upon months, the Office of East Coast Housing Development, my Straight Talk family, is closed. Where is Brian Singh, you may ask? We've been looking and trying to find Brian Singh, whom I know as well. But his office is always under lock and chain. Brian Singh has absconded. He has gone into hiding. All the slow student has done is to pass the buck to Attorney General Garth Lucifer Wilkin with a silly explanation about government not losing any money.
Directly to the question that was asked, as you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
And this was in March, my Straight Dog family, like 4 months ago. So who has lost the near $28 million? The bank? Hell no, slow student. That is why you needed a guarantee of the sums contractually payable to East Coast Housing Development by the NHC. We posted it before. This was the contractual arrangement. This East Coast Housing Development project has transformed our housing into what I call a magnet for fraud. Yet Garth Lucifer Wilkin has not uttered one word. Not one word, my Straight Dog family. He wanted to extradite Kittians in the diaspora. Why doesn't he extradite Brian Singh? Bring him back to St. Kitts. Let's get that money, that $28 million. But my Straight Dog family, once housing was treated as a cornerstone of dignity, a place to call home, raise a family, and build a future. Today, in many countries, including our own country here, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, housing has been transformed into a vehicle for speculation, a magnet for fraud, and a playground for the wealthy few. And I came to that conclusion after seeing a press release from the CIU, my Straight Dog family, the Citizenship by Investment Unit. I saw this press release, my Straight Dog family, from the unit, and I had to stand up and read. Press release, caption, CIU collaborates with client referrals to deliver over 100 affordable homes for low-income families. And my Straight Dog family, take some time and read it. But it says the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Unit, CIU, in partnering with global business consultancy firm Client Referrals, has launched an affordable housing initiative that aims to redefine accessible homes or home ownership across the Federation through the construction of 100 to 150 homes. And it continues. Having read that release, though, my Straight Dog family, I am convinced that housing in St. Kitts and Nevis is no longer primarily about shelter. Housing has become an asset class, a commodity, a way to park wealth, to launder money and hoard opportunity. there is an instant financialization of housing. By that I mean that the increasing role to be now played by the CBI or global capital markets and corporations in the provision of shelter in St. Kitts Nevis forces us to look at housing as a vehicle for wealth and investment and fraud rather than a social good. And let's be honest, this is not accidental. It is the result of deliberate policies and a political system under Terence Michael Drew that has too often served the interests of the wealthy over ordinary citizens. The victims of this system are not abstract. They are real people. The single mother evicted from her apartment as she could no longer afford the rent. The young couple who gave up hope of ever owning a home despite working 2 jobs. The pensioner forced to choose between rent and food to eat. This is not a housing crisis. It is a crisis of justice. So tonight, I beg all of us, let us not stand by while housing becomes a casino for global capital. Because housing is not just a market. It is not just a product. It is a human right. Let us be clear. Reclaiming housing as a social good is not radical. It is necessary. It is decent. It is the just thing to do. Let us build a future where homes are for people and not portfolios. Where neighborhoods are for families, not for CBI funds. And where the basic dignity of a safe, stable home is guaranteed not by your wealth, but by your rights as a citizen. Finally, my Straight Talk family, my fellow citizens and patriots of our proud federation, tonight, I did not come with applause for the status quo, but with a call for accountability, transparency, and justice. Our Citizenship by Investment program, once envisioned as a noble path to economic revitalization, continues to be shadowed by serious and mounting concerns. It was designed to serve the public good. But today, we must ask, whose good is really being served? Let us look closely at this glaring example, the new public benefit option tied to low-income housing. It is reliably rumored, my Straight Talk family, that 200 shares have been approved by the cabinet of Terence Michael Drew, allegedly to finance the construction of 100 to 150 homes. These 200 shares under the public benefit option will yield US $50 million or EC $135 million. Just ask yourselves, where is this US $50 million going? Let's do the math, my strongest weak point. If $50 million is allocated for 150 homes, that's over $333,000 per house. In what world is that considered low-income housing, my Straight Talk family? Where is the National Housing Corporation, the NHC, in all of this? Is the government sidelining the very institution it created to manage housing for the poor and vulnerable? Why are we allowing third-party developers, handpicked and hidden behind corporate veils, to manage tens of millions of public funds without accountability? And I ask boldly and clearly, which bank account will these millions be deposited into? Who is auditing these transactions? Who is ensuring that these funds do not vanish into the shadows of offshore finance and accounts, into shell companies, and into padded contracts? We the people are not fooled. Across the region and the world, our CBI program is increasingly associated with, not with development, but with fraud, with secrecy, and money laundering. And while international headlines tarnish our name, our people still struggle for decent housing. Our schools are crumbling and healthcare remains underfunded. Let us be clear. Housing is not a commodity to be exploited. It is a social good. It is a human right. No one should profit off the backs of our poor people while pretending to serve them. So tonight, I call on this Terence Michael Jew administration and all those entrusted with the public good to act. Find recommendations to restore trust and eradicate corruption. Mandate full transparency in all CBI public benefit projects, with line-by-line budgets published online for public review. Reinstate the National Housing Corporation as the principal agency for all housing development funded by the CBI resources. Establish an independent oversight commission, including members of civil society and international auditors to monitor every single dollar spent. Ban the use of shell companies and anonymous developers in public projects. Pass strong anti-money laundering reforms that align with global financial standards and enforce them without fear or favor. Fellow citizens and my Stray Dog family, this is not just a matter of policy. It is a matter of principle. The CBI program for these low-income houses must serve the many, not the few. It must build homes, not hide fortunes. And above all, it must be a tool of national development, not a loophole for international crime. Let us reclaim our integrity. Let us restore the people's trust. Let us make the CBI program a force for good, transparent, accountable, and truly beneficial to our people. And let us reject this diabolic plan, beg your pardon, to make St. Kitts Nevis housing a vehicle for wealth and fraud than a social good. That's my story tonight, my Stray Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and hear from you. Let me know if you agree that this St. Kitts Nevis housing, under the CBI in particular, for low-income housing, as they've said, has created a vehicle for wealth and fraud rather than a social good. It's 9:02 p.m. and I will entertain your calls and your emails. I always like to implore you, before I do, to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And in the process, my Stray Dog family, with the things you say and do, let us hope it will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and say good night to our first caller. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Leiber.
Good night, my dear. Sounds like a familiar voice.
Yes.
Always getting
the
first.
Quotation.
Yes, lady quotation. From across the narrows, right?
Yes.
Yes, my dear. Good to hear you.
One of the keys to ensuring accountability
Yes, accountability
is to have civil servants who witness fraud, waste, and abuse.
Fraud, waste, and abuse.
And abuse, to blow the whistle.
To blow the whistle.
Yes.
Okay.
I repeat, one of the keys to ensuring accountability is to have civil servants who witness fraud, waste, and abuse to blow the whistle. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, and thank you for your quotation as usual. One of the keys to ensuring accountability is to have civil servants witness fraud, waste, and abuse to blow the whistle. Interesting quotation. Caller, you're live. Good night.
Good evening, Mr. Liber.
Good evening, my dear.
Kalikwan, and
yes,
I cannot get in on your show.
You cannot?
Yeah, all what I get in is June, go back down to December. I can't get in. How are you this evening?
When you say I'm peaceful, yourself? When you say I can't get in, you mean the list to play back this stuff?
No, like seeing you, yes, right? Talking. I can't get in. Like that's where you dial the number. Last week the same thing, and tonight again the same thing.
What medium are you using? Facebook?
Yes.
I've been down on Facebook for these last 2 nights, but I'm on YouTube. You don't have YouTube?
Oh, yes, I have YouTube. I don't know you got YouTube.
Oh yes, go.
I don't know.
Put it on your big screen, man. Go to YouTube. Put it on your big smart TV and cock up in your bed.
Yes. yes. Every night I come up in my bed and I watch my TV.
Yes.
But I'm
YouTube and you'll find Straight Talk there.
Okay, I will have to do that. But 2 questions I have tonight to say. Number one, speaking about my brother's son, Kalikwan. Officer Shepherd, and I'm speaking about the commissioner. The commissioner lashed on everything, but he ain't lashed on that one. But Officer Shepherd done to my brother's son. He ain't lashed on that one, but he lashed on everything else. I'm listening that day. I listen everything that he lashed on, but he ain't lashed on that one. Whatever it is he hiding for that officer. Officer Shepherd, whatever he hiding from for him, because he told him it's his body. Whatever that officer done to my brother's son, Mr. Loybod, everything gonna fall back and drop back on that commissioner. Everything tonight do good and good will follow you. And next thing again, about the 500 where the Prime Minister speak about tonight. How we expect to get all of them, he and the cabal, 33% of the money and the salary. And the 250 where he used to give poor people, he stopped it. And now he coming up now to say he gonna give them 500. The people have been going home with 500, Mr. Loybod. They're gonna get 4 something. After they don't take out social and levy, he's quoting the 400 and something they're going home with. Why did he tell him poor people? Why did he tell him poor people? Is he poor people more stupid and dumb that they can't see? This amount of passport they're selling. Eh? What happened to skeleton people and they don't want to raise and they work hard? What happened to public work people? They work hard. They want not tap the salary. What happened to the prep people? What happened to the teachers and the nurses and the doctors? Eh? What happened to the rest adult people them? They want not tap the money. These people here were just gone inside there and talk about the running government and they want to be government. They're gone inside there to what? Bring stinky to a corrupt place. They need to come out, they need to go about the business and give back Timothy the country. Whenever you get in gas, whenever you get in, Mr. Loybod, hear me. Whenever you get in, stinky go catch back himself. Stinky can't catch back himself because what? I don't even know what to call these people who are gone inside there. Eh? He and the cabal. A Babylonian baby.
Okay. Okay, my dear.
They're not studying the body.
Okay, Kalikwan, right?
Kalikwan and
Kalikwan.
Let's Timothy home, let's go back in.
Okay, my
dear. Timothy going to the convention the 12th of this month.
Okay.
I hope that my name bus out there to pick up people because I want to be there.
Okay, my dear.
I
Thanks.
want to be there.
Thanks a lot for your intervention, and trust
Yes,
that
baby.
all will be well. Okay, so go find YouTube now, my dear. Okay, thanks a lot.
Right now, sweetie. I'm going to find him right now.
Okay, my dear. Thanks a lot for your intervention. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Straight Talk.
Abracadabra.
Abracadabra. How are you, my brother?
I am peaceful, my brother, from another mother.
Oh, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. What can I say, man? So far, so good. All is well. I'm just here relaxing myself, listening to you and get a good laugh from you. But the biggest laugh I get now is the quote, lady, and I tell you that's a quote. You know? But hey, it's so much things going on in that government that it's not easy. But what you do, you can't do. They're not going to change because we don't have an opposition to go up against the government, and that's where everything is falling by the wayside. So anyway, let me just say good evening to my wonderful people. Good evening to my sister Joan there in Lads, Culture's wife, and my brother from another mother, Ellis. My lovely niece in St. Louis and Texas Queen, my brother Alvin, and my niece there, Abigail, and her family, and my brother Adam. And Mr. Strater, I was listening to your program last week, and I can't believe what I was hearing you saying about that government. But you see, the government gonna do whatever they're gonna do because the people now rise up against them.
Sure.
The people just sit back flat and take everything. So that's why they might get away with so many things. You know? The people are supposed to be able to stand up and say, look, man, I now do what I said I was going to do and fight back, but they're not. So that's why everything are go on like that. Mr. Strater, what become of the water buckets? They still got them out there doing what?
They've been thrown around in the yards, you know. My good friend Cash Dallas hasn't connected them as yet, you know. Very strange, you know.
Well, you know, go connect them again. That's number one.
Yes.
You know, that they tell themselves, well, look, we do enough, we get them for you guys. You guys have to do what you guys have to do. That's what it is. And if they pay people to connect them, that's money out of their pocket.
Yep.
So, I don't know, Mr. Straight Talk. I don't know.
All right,
so
well.
just do what you got to do. It's a blessing to hear you tonight. Huh?
Yes, a blessing to hear you as well, my brother.
Yes, I just want you to do what you got to do, you man. I'm getting there. Soon and very soon we will see each other.
I look forward.
Have fun. Have fun, my Straight Talk family, and drink and have a beer together. So, Mr. Straight Talk, just take care of yourself until I see you when I see you. Be good.
Yes, my
Abracadabra. See you when I see you. See you soon.
See you, my brother. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. How is the Bible man tonight?
Well, the Bible man is here, and I said to myself, if I just take it easy, and also I would just this Friday. The way coming down in the morning. Exodus chapter 14 come to me. And it was 13 when I read it this morning. And then Psalm 46 come to. That is, God is a wonderful God. When I come and straight, I ain't talking no Nancy story, you know. And so, God, in the infinite mercy, Pharaoh and the children of Israel. And to make a long story short, because I'm not preach tonight. Pharaoh would not let the children go. And God had Moses to be a deliverer. And God tell Moses, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. Because he got to let the children of Israel. And that is what happened in the Old Testament could happen today. So when God need a deliverer, not care who, God tell Samuel, man look at the outer appearance, but God look at the heart. So that is tonight I am telling you, here come a day that Saint Nevis is going to free from the bondage of slave of. And so my passage scripture tonight in Psalm 46. You have it?
God is our refuge and our strength. Go ahead.
God is our refuge
Yes.
and strength
Very
in the
present help.
present time of trouble.
Very present time in trouble.
Brother, those two passages,
Okay, my brother.
God, look at it.
Yes.
God see our troubles.
Okay.
God see our problem.
Okay, my brother.
And in the time he are going to work, Mr. Patrick, have a pleasant night. I ain't going to further than the goddamn. You see, I don't want to really, when people getting things on the radio station, you not stop them. So it's not something they really want to.
Okay, the Bible man. Thanks a lot for your spiritual intervention, Mr. Bible man, as usual. Patches, good evening. What is really happening on 4th Street? Read this email. Opposite the Republic Bank. Imagine some elites think it is best to erect some board pipes and caution tapes on the sidewalk because they are trying to stop poor people from making a living. Only the elites and the Indians are to eat and make a living in this country. What is wrong with these people? What the police and government is doing about this? They have 4th Street looking like trash. Bassi is not alive without street vending. That's how the place looks, colorful and festive. Things done hard in St. Kitts and Jew and the police. We let these elites treat poor people like this. Patches, you need to take a drive on 4th Street and see how nasty across that area is looking. Where are the police in all of this? To ask these people to remove these nonsense. You poor people cannot take no more under you and your nasty government. We need a change now. You were the one who said we can go back and do street vending, and now the elites are trying to stop poor people. Well, we won't allow this because if the police do not get these nonsense removed, we the people who are trying to make a living will remove them. Only the elites are to eat in this country. Well, we the poor people born and raised here. Patches, sorry we didn't get a picture to show you, but please take a stroll down 4th Street opposite the Republic Bank. Let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Brother Patches. Good night to all listeners.
Good night, sir.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
I'm on the highway, really.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear.
My name is Winston Welcome. And a long time ago, we heard about the housing scheme project. And let me give you some pointers, and I will go into we could get more into detail. Now, the cost for the houses, 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. Okay. We have into consideration the quantity surveyed, all the materials required to complete a house. Labor, that's another thing. Let's things into our consideration. Now, there are no houses built yet, but there is a forecast for the cost of the house. Shouldn't it be to have the quantity surveying that determine the materials that will complete that house with an estimate per house? Then we look at completion and labor. House stick up in right there. Now we had a CBI that could have rescued the people. The CBI fund monies could have offset the cost of the house for the people, because the CBI is really the people's patrimony. It's not just the elitists that running the government. Now, look at the cost of living. Look at the wages that being paid to civil servants, whether it's on government or private sector. Where is that money to pay off for a house over 100,000 and climbing, so to speak? Now, remember the CBI again. All those money that has been stolen by the kleptocrats. If that money were to be there and the fund were to handle properly, so the CBI money could have helped by way to offset those costs for the NHC is charging for a house. Now, how to determine what the cost of the house, when probably the materials and all the factors that complete that house is way low? I think it is inflation. And who will be pocketing, who will be benefiting from that? If the government is for the people, why don't they spread the wealth to the people instead of hitting them so hard for such a cost? I mean, no one is bankable. So how these houses will be for the people? They can't afford it. They can't afford it, so government is unfair. The NHC is unfair. And to all the players in it, they have to do the recalculation. First, get the quantity surveying, the cost to build a house, and completing of the house, put all those bill of particles and do the maths. And those houses will be way cheaper than that they're asking for. Are they planning to steal and profit off the people? And where those money will be going? There must be transparency. There must be accountability. Come on, government. Anyway.
Okay.
Give the independent, whether it is 1, 2, 3, a chance to join in the mix to help the people of the Federation of St. Kitts. I, Winston Welcome, is an independent,
okay,
and I will not change it until the end.
Okay,
Thank you for hearing me.
Okay,
Bye for now.
Brother, thanks a lot for your intervention as usual. A pleasant good evening, Patches, reads this other email. Tonight I went to my retired parents' home, who were die-hard Labour supporters up until the last election, so we could watch the long-anticipated PM July national address. And just as we settled down to hear him say something of substance to make up for his colossal failure for nigh 3 years, the address came to an end. Patches, I never heard my parents curse swear words ever in my life until tonight. When my father jumped out his chair and pointed at the television and started to curse July, calling him a damn blasted liar and hypocrite. Patches, July didn't say one word about the 600 houses promised per year from the East Coast. He didn't say anything about the building of the autistic center he promised 2 years ago. My parents, who are retired civil servants, still have to eke out a large chunk of money from their pittance pension to ensure that they maintain coverage with the National Insurance Scheme. If July wants to make his Aspire program relevant, then why not register each child when they are born at the hospital? What is the name of the local contractor or developer to build the Basti High School? Anyway, I will listen tomorrow at PLP press conference when our sensible, truthful, and level-headed leader, Dr. Timothy Harris, will put July bag of garbage in the garbage bin where it belongs. Thank you, Patches. Reads this email. And this other email reads, my Street Talk family, I'll take your calls right after this one. Dear Patches, good evening. I listened closely to your last show, and I think it's time someone calls out Mark Brantley for what he truly is, a self-serving political opportunist with no loyalty but to himself. Last week on the Mark show, Brantley descended into a shameful tirade, cursing and mocking Sean Richards, the very man he once promised to support for Prime Minister. He even had the gall to call him Mumu, simply because Sean refused to betray his conscience and accept the PM position under shady circumstances. Brantley himself admitted they met in a Frigate Bay house linked to General Powell's family to discuss this offer. And now he's aligned himself with Jew and Labour openly ridiculing his former ally. Brantley told the House, who want to be in government, let them go win seats. A statement that confirmed he has completely abandoned PAM and any remnants of team unity. Patches, the people deserve to know the truth. Brantley didn't just walk away. He backstabbed, ridiculed, and sold out. And now he wants to pretend he's clean. Let's not let him rewrite history, reads this email. And my Straight Talk family, if you have just joined me, we are looking at our thesis for tonight, which I've titled SKN Housing, a Vehicle for Wealth and Fraud rather than social good. And we do apologize in the event you're still looking for Facebook. We've had some difficulties again tonight. I'm going to show you, we'll try to get that up and running for Thursday's program. But if you're not getting Facebook, try move on to YouTube. And if you have the Alexa app as well, you can get us via Alexa. But I'm looking at our thesis for tonight. St. Kitts Nevis Housing, or SKN Housing, a vehicle for wealth and fraud rather than a social good. And I tried to make the point in my introduction that housing for every citizen in St. Kitts and Nevis and the world over represents more than 4 walls and a roof. It's a place to call home. It's a safe environment necessary to enjoy an adequate standard of living and a platform to access basic services and all the opportunities the country has to offer, including jobs, economic services, to cultural life and leisure. And recall as well that the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 provided an historical turning point for the direction housing discussions would take in coming decades. It was the first international document where states recognize housing as a human right or an essential condition to enjoy an adequate standard of living. And if you go back to the early 1950s, a time when our foreparents struggled daily for the dignity of a roof over their heads. Here in St. Kitts, in the spirit of compassion and public service, the then Bradshaw government established the Central Housing Authority, the CHA, as we all called it, with a clear and moral mission to provide shelter for the poor and vulnerable. It was a noble start, and decades later, in 1997, the Denzel Douglas government took what was meant to be the next bold step and established the National Housing Corporation, the NHC, with an express mandate to provide housing for the indigent and infirm. But here we are today, almost 30 years later, and that promise still remains unfulfilled. The provision of houses for the indigent and the infirm. For well over 2 decades, housing production in St. Kitts has not kept pace with population changes, and this has resulted in significant affordability problems across the country. This fact was magnified following the ambitious announcement over 2 years ago by the slow student Jeffrey Handy about the construction of 2,400 houses in 4 years. Imagine that, 600 houses per year. But he handpicked a man called Brian Singh of Trinidad and Tobago, who never built a fowl coop, much less a house. But Brian Singh had his plan. For him, Terence Drew was like Jesus.
Our purpose in St. Kitts is tenfold. One is we know that COVID brought a lot of hardship to every country, every island in the Caribbean and worldwide. And we thought that, listen, this is a good economy. You all maybe don't know, but if you hear the discussions that has been had, and I'll tell you where, in Barbados, for instance, and they talk that, listen, this man is a genius. So I say, which man? So I thought they were talking about Jesus. So they say Dr. Drew, based on the fact that he had the testicular fortitude to bring projects like this together for the benefit of the economy. Because I said that, listen, we have to promote the economic growth in the economy after COVID. What happens if you don't do that? So patience is the watchword. And I want to say, Prime Minister, thank you for the opportunity. As in everything else, we're not going to let you down. We try to go by excellence.
But he surely let down the Prime Minister, because till this day, only 2 houses were built. And according to the slow student Jeffrey Hanley, there were some 4,000 applicants, 300 of whom went to the bank and were not approved. My Straight Talk family. Very interesting. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Very interesting. Let's go back to the lines.
Hello, caller.
600 houses and 6 ain't gone long yet.
You have your equipment on? You have your equipment on? Hello?
No, 600 house and 6 ain't gone down yet.
Yeah, but you have your equipment down. I'm getting a terrible feedback from you. Yeah, just either move away or turn it down, or listen to the telephone. Okay, that caller was trying to say 600 houses and 6 has not gone on yet, but only 2 houses were built by Straight Talk family. And Hanley, as I said 4,000 applicants he had.
So quite a lot is going to happen in 2025 when it comes to home and housing solution. I know some persons might have gone to the bank and the bank might have indicated that they're not qualified. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get a house, because we have innovative ways that we are going to be launching that will benefit those persons. The reason why we did that is because St. Kitts is not really known for having all of the data. And we wanted to know how many persons are interested in homes. And the database revealed that about 4,000 persons would have applied in terms of sharing their details. And as they go through the process, they are updated, and we know. So we know already, out of the 300 that went to the bank, we already have an idea of how many of them were not approved. And not being approved doesn't mean that they can't get. It means that they couldn't get maybe the house that they wanted. Some wanted a 2-bedroom, but then they might have to settle with a 1-bedroom.
My Straight Talk family, the slow student still lives in the time when house was bigger day and smaller night. Wants to put a mother with 2 and 3 children, single mother, in a 1-bedroom. But this project, the 2,400 houses, was laced with fraud from the beginning. As Brian Singh and East Coast Housing Development never built one house. So how could the slow student, Jeffrey Handy, convince his cabinet to depend on this company to construct 2,400 houses? Brian Singh confessed that even the AG expressed doubt about the 10-year warranty provided by his company. And in spite of this doubt, the disgraced Attorney General, Garth Lucifer Wilkin, still advised his Prime Minister and the Cabinet to seek approval from the Parliament to guarantee US $10,260,000 as the contractual sums payable by NHC to East Coast Housing Development. Mobilization costs. The man took $27 or $28 million in mobilization. And he's run away, absconded, gone into hiding. Where is Brian Singh? Is the MLAT not working? Did you consult the DPP? All the slow student has done is to pass the buck to you with a silly explanation about government has not lost any money.
Directly to the question that was asked, as you know, as a country, we engage the East Coast Housing Development in assisting us in delivering some homes. Unfortunately, the 600 homes that we were anticipating, with all of the challenges that we might have been experiencing, not us so much as a government, but the investor, that has caused some delays. These matters are being worked on, and what I said to the Federation is that based on the contractual arrangement that we would have signed, the AG office, of course, is working on ensuring that the government's interest, which it is protected. But because of the delay, we have not lost any money as a government.
Because of the delay, they have not lost any money. So who has lost a near $28 million? Slow student? The bank? Hell no, Jeffrey Halley. That is why you needed a guarantee of the sums contractually payable to the East Coast Housing Development by the NHC. This East Coast Housing Development project has transformed our housing into what I call a magnet for fraud. Yet Garth Lucifer Wilkin has not uttered one word, not one word, from Garth Lucifer Wilkin. Caller, you're live. It's 9:40. Hello, caller.
Yeah, Patches, good evening, man. How you guys doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. You know, as you play that Jeffrey tape over and over, it's appalling to just listen to it and dissect it a little bit. He's not making any sense whatsoever.
Never do.
Because of a delay, the government hasn't lost any money. What kind of statement is that? I mean, the people got to listen to these people when they talk. I mean, they're taking the people for a ride. They are a failure when it comes to that housing scheme. And if all of those persons are not bankable, they will never get a house, whether if it's a one-bedroom or a studio apartment. You think a bank is going to take up money and give it to somebody who's not bankable, who can't get approved? That's not going to happen. Not unless that bank CEO want to get fired for throwing away money. Because they will waste their money on those persons who are not bankable and who are not approved. If you can't get approved for a loan, who in the bank is going to take up money and give it to you? I just think Nevis is in a mess, man. The place is super duper corrupted.
Oh, yes.
And I was listening to another station today, and I hear a popular person says on the ground, nothing is going to change there. I'm actually starting to believe that, because that's what I'm seeing in my eyes. That's what I'm hearing in my ears. That's what I'm observing for all of these years that I'm talking out here. And just to divert a little bit concerning the CBI and that travel ban that the United States is in China is putting forward to the OECS countries that have the CBI program. One of the requirements that I've saw on a report concerning that, when America is giving these guys 60 days to get their act together, one of the requirements that I see on there is that residency requirement. Persons might not be able to buy into that CBI unless they satisfy that residency requirement. Unless the government of the day change up those points, those stipulations that America is asking for them to change. If they don't change it, things might get really bad going forward. But according to the amount of money came into St. Kitts last year, from the inception of the CBI, St. Kitts Nevis should be in tip-top shape. Why don't the government just give out 50 houses? I bet you they won't do nothing like that. All these people who think that the government is giving them houses, they're not getting the houses for free. That's my contribution, man. St. Kitts and Nevis people, wake up. Stand up, rise up.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night, Patches, man. I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot.
Have a good night as well. Thanks for your contribution each time, my Straight Talk family. And I am troubled, though, by this arrangement to get these houses under the CBI program. This hand-picked company. And we note that the NHC was not mentioned at all. But once ago, housing was treated as a cornerstone of dignity, a place to call home, a place in which you raise a family and build a future. But today, housing has been transformed into a vehicle for speculation, a magnet for fraud, and a playground for the wealthy few. And I came to that conclusion after seeing this press release. My Straight Talk family, I made mention of this. This press release from a Citizenship by Investment unit. CIU collaborates with client referrals to deliver over 100 affordable homes for low-income families. And my Straight Talk family, having read that release, I am convinced that housing in St. Kitts, Nevis, and Nevis is no longer primarily about shelter. It's not. It's not, my Straight Talk family. It has come or has become what they call an asset class, a commodity, a way to park wealth, to launder money, and to hoard opportunities. There's what I call as well an instant financialization of housing. By that I mean that the increasing role to be now played by the CBI or global capital markets and corporations in the provision of shelter in St. Kitts, Nevis, forces us to look at housing as a vehicle for wealth and investment rather than a social good. And let's be honest, this arrangement with client referrals, whichever that group is, where it came from, it is not accidental. And what's happening is the result of deliberate policies and a political system that has too often served the interests of the wealthy over ordinary citizens. And the victims of this system are not abstract. They're not. The victims are real people. A single mother, evicted from her home as she could no longer afford to pay her rent. The young couple who had to give up hope of ever owning a home despite working 2 jobs. These are real people. The pensioner forced to choose between rent and food to eat. That's what's going on in this country. This is not about the housing crisis. It's a crisis of justice. So I came to beg all of us tonight, let us not stand by while housing becomes a casino for global capital. That's what it is. Because housing is not just a market. It's not just a product. It's a human right. So let us be clear, my Straight Talk family. Reclaiming housing as a social good is not radical. It is necessary. It is decent. It is just. So let us build a future where homes are for people and not portfolios. Where neighborhoods are for families, not for CBI funds going into someone's bank account or offshore account. And where the basic dignity of a safe, stable home is guaranteed, not by your wealth, but by your right as a citizen. My Straight Talk family, it's time we wake up. As our lady who offers the quotation said, one of the keys to ensuring accountability is to have civil servants who witness fraud, waste, and abuse to blow the whistle. Caller, thank you for holding your live. It's 10 before the 10 o'clock hour. Hello, caller.
The greetings, Brother Patches.
Greetings, my brother. Sounds like Rast Kulunji.
Yes. Healing up all the brothers and sisters, here in the Federation and those listening via the internet in the diaspora. I mean, you hit the nail on the head this evening in the sense that it's the same thing happening in the metropolitan countries, especially in New York. We're talking about gentrification. There's certain big housing companies in the United States like BlackRock and BlackRock, and there's some other ones, right? But they're asset management firms, and they're just buying up all the housing to get rid of black people. That's why I tell you last week, it's the same system that we are under. That there's certain people within different societies, right? It could be the bourgeoisie or the petty bourgeois in our situation, where they're just hoarding money and keeping the people poor. So what I'm trying to show you, whether it's just black here or white over there, is the same system. A system of exploitation. Because it's all about capitalism. So the point I'm making, as we say, what Granny said. Granny said we should atone for our sins locally. Repent, right? And come up with a program for our people to move forward and unite. Because I'm telling you, you see how the United States attack Iran? They're coming at us, It's just a matter of time, but they ain't gonna bomb us. They're gonna shut down the banking system because we don't have our own currency. You understand? As Marco Rubio said, we can't let these people join BRICS, these other countries, because we can't sanction them. He said these things are not making up anything else. Not only that, birthright citizenship now has ended, The Supreme Court gave Mr. Trump the right to pass an executive order, right, where people from other countries can go to the United States and have children. So all the people from here in St. Kitts and Nevis who used to go to the United States and get children, it can't happen no more. Not only that, he's deporting native-born black people in America. That's why I'm telling our people we have to unite. These people are waging war on us. And we don't realize just that tonight we got to wake up and speak with one voice. So, my brother, I'm telling you, I outline all these things. You can't say I'm making up nothing here because all these things is in the news. You understand?
Okay, my brother.
So I'm showing you the links. That whether it's there or here, it's the same thing.
Yep.
The elites in different countries, they're just exploiting the masses of the people, whether it's black or white.
Yes.
You see, my brother?
Yes.
So what Granny say? It's time for us to unite. What Granny say? Love one another. What Granny say? Respect one another. What Granny says, self-determination and self-respect and self-esteem, my brother. I leave it to our people. We calling for the unification of our people. All we got to do is repent. bring back all the money with the thief in the CBI, you know, and shake up among us and let everybody live happily after. Okay?
Okay, my
So have a good night.
Have a good night, my brother.
Okay, blessed love, my boy.
Blessed love, always. Straight and to the point. Ras Kalunji. As we wind down, I'm going to give you a few more minutes since I started a little late. I was trying to ensure that we had our Facebook post up. And this email reads, MSR Judicial Review asks for all 5,500 fraudulent Galaxy applications to be investigated and pay the difference in average. The fraudulent underselling was US $75,000 per application. The total amount defrauded to the country is US $412 million. With that money, you can build and give for free 2,400 houses to 2,400 families. Why is the Attorney General and Prime Minister refusing to recover that money from Caribbean Galaxy from the jail project? Free house for 2,400 families. Who are they protecting? Who is Drew protecting? What is the relationship between Charles Wilkin and Brian Singh? Asks this question. My Straight Dog family asks email. And at 4 before the 9 o'clock hour, I'll perhaps take 2 more calls before I wrap and wind down. As I said, I started a bit late, but I want to give you back that time. And my Straight Dog family, as we wind down, let's just think of this press release. Why is the National Housing Corporation excluded from this public benefit option in relation to the purchase or the construction of low-income houses? That's a question we want to ask ourselves. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Mr. Patrice, greetings.
Greetings, my brother.
And how are you, man? I'm good.
You, sir, are you peaceful? I'm peaceful.
All right, cool. Whenever conflict arises between material and spiritual values, the conscience plays an important role. And anyone who suffers from a guilty conscience is never free from this problem until he makes peace with his conscience. The Bible man tonight was spot on, and the lady with her quotations. Those 2 persons really have your program very reformed. And that's what we need in the country. Every form of our institution needs reform. Some persons talk about exploitation. Exploitation don't happen by itself. You know, who control our system in here? We control our own system. And if Social Security, National Bank, or CBI is investing in housing, it should always be a reasonable rate for the people, because the people money, anyway you turn it. You know, what I would like to see in the future, Mr. Patches, as a citizen, more accountability of public funds. Some person to talk about repent, all those things are repentance. Reform our system, because the Bible says, ye must be born again. So we got to show difference, to show some righteousness, that we really have principle to going forward to change our system. geothermal. We always talk about geothermal. What I would like to see going forward, Mr. Patches, the accountability of the money that was invested already in geothermal from the federal government. Let us see how the spending went with that money. To say anybody is going forward now with geothermal, we will see from real, we're going to continue. Don't let it look like we're just starting afresh when it comes on geothermal. I think it need more in-depth part of the accountability of what was done before. I don't feel like I could feel as a citizen like it's something just happening. That is what I really like.
That's a fair request. That's a fair request.
Cool. And tonight with your conclusion pertaining the housing, the words that you use, no matter what people may say about you, Mr. Patches, you're a street man, you're a kitty son, you understand the struggle. You ain't like the rest of these bright boys, academics who ain't consistent to stand for the country. You see, a lot of them fight unity, them bright boys. And our unity was putting in the local polities to help the people. True. And none of them never commended unity to pay them off the IMF. Instead of that, I feel a lot of them still feel unity should not have paid off the IMF. Leave the people struggling. Mr. Patches, you continue going strong because the country, some may say tight, but you're going good because it's to see who is who for the country. Take care, Mr. Patches. God bless.
God bless you as well, my dear brother. Very positive note on which to end tonight's conversation. And to repeat as well that the instant financialization, I call it, that of our housing and having the increasing role now played by the CBI. Once the CBI is involved, then global capital markets are involved. Corporations are involved in the provision of shelter. Because housing is our shelter. In St. Kitts Nevis, it forces us to look at housing as a vehicle for wealth and investment rather than a social good. And let's be honest, this is not accidental. It is the result of deliberate policies and a political system that has too often served the interests of the wealthy over ordinary citizens. And the victims of this system are not abstract. They are real people. Let's understand that. The single mother with 2 and 3 children, evicted from her home as she could no longer afford the rent. The young couple who gave up hope of ever owning a home despite working 2 jobs. The pensioner forced to choose between rent, paying the electricity bills, and food to eat. So this is not a housing crisis, it is a crisis of justice. So tonight, as I leave you, I beg you, all of us, let us not stand by while housing becomes a casino for global capital. That's where it's gone. Because housing is not just a market, it's not just a product. It is a human right. Let's just be clear. Reclaiming housing as a social good is not a radical thing to do. It is a necessary thing to do. It is a decent thing to do. It's the just thing to do. So let's just build a future where homes are for people and not portfolios. Where neighborhoods are for families, not for CBI funds. And where the basic dignity of a safe, stable home is guaranteed not by your wealth, but by your rights as a citizen. And finally, my Street Dog family, my fellow citizens, and patriots of our proud federation, tonight I did not come with applause for the status quo, but with a call for accountability, transparency, and justice. Our CBI, once envisioned as a noble path to economic revitalization, continues to be shadowed by serious and mounting concerns. It was designed to serve the public good. But today we must ask, whose good is really being served? Let's just look closely at this glaring example. The new public benefit option tied to low-income housing. It is reliably rumored that 200 shares have been approved by the cabinet, allegedly to finance the construction of 100 to 150 homes. These 200 shares will yield $50 million, or 135 million EC dollars, or 50 million US dollars. Ask yourselves, where is this US $50 million going? Do the mathematics. If 50 million is allocated for 150 homes, are you saying that the house costs $333,000? In what world is that considered low-income housing? Nah. Where is the National Housing Corporation? Where is the NHC in all of this, my Street Dog family? Where is the NHC? The CIU has made that release. Where is the NHC in all of this? Is the government sidelining the very institution it created to manage housing for the poor and vulnerable? Why is the CIU taking over housing? Why is the NHC? Why are we allowing third-party developers, handpicked and hidden behind corporate veils, to manage tens of millions of public funds without accountability? And I asked boldly tonight, my Street Dog family, which bank account will these millions be deposited into? Who is auditing these transactions? Who is ensuring that these funds do not vanish into the shadows of offshore finance and accounts, into shell companies and padded contracts? We the people must not be fooled. Across the region and the world, our CBI program is increasingly associated not with development, but with fraud, secrecy, and money laundering. And my Street Dog family, while international headlines tarnish our country's name, our people still struggle for decent housing, for schools that are crumbling, and healthcare which remains underfunded. Let's be clear. Housing is not a commodity to be exploited. It is a social good. It is a human right. No one should profit off the backs of our poor people while pretending to serve them. So tonight I call on this Terence Michael Drew government and all those entrusted with the public good to act. I mandate, or you must mandate full transparency in all CBI public benefit projects, with line-by-line budgets published online for public review. Reinstate the NHC as the principal agency for all housing development funded by CBI resources. Establish an independent oversight commission, including members of civil society and international auditors, to monitor every single dollar spent. And ban the use of shell companies and anonymous developers in public projects. Pass strong anti-money laundering reforms that align with global financial standings and enforce them without fear or favor. My fellow citizens, this is not just a matter of policy. It is a matter of principle. The CBI program must serve the many and not the few. It must build homes, not hide fortunes. And above all, it must be a tool of national development and not a loophole for international crime. Let us reclaim our integrity. Let's restore the people's trust. Let's make the CBI program a force for good, transparent, accountable, and truly beneficial to our people. And as the quotation from our good lady from across the Narrows reads, one of the keys to ensuring accountability is to have civil servants who witness fraud, waste, and abuse to blow the whistle. And let us reject this diabolical plan to make St. Kitts Nevis housing a vehicle for wealth and fraud rather than a social good. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I want to thank you, the many viewers, those who called and those who sent emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I do apologize for our Facebook platform, which was still giving problems tonight. We will talk about the 100 acres for tobacco or for Tabasco next time around. I didn't listen to that man. I knew what he would say. He comes the same way. Remember, he's like Dr. Goebbels. He tells a lie 1,000 times and he believes it comes the truth. You tell a lie once, it remains a lie. You tell it 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. Remember, he's Cuban trained, Marxist, and all that goes with that. My Straight Talk family, until we connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light and thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday. Have yourself what's left, the best of what's left of tonight. And be good to all whom you meet. Bye-bye. My Straight Talk family, keep moving on.